Hello and welcome to Axcient Facebook Live. Co-hosting today's chat is DataTrends on the topic of Axcient's appliance-free direct-to-cloud and self-service recovery with Virtual Office. Hello.
Hi there.
Thank you for joining us today, Kevin.
Thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah. And Adam, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. Always glad to be here, Corey.
Perfect. And before we get started, audience, please let us know you're here by sharing in the chat box where you're tuning in from. And we do want to get involved in the conversation. So if you have any questions or thoughts, please post them. And we do have Axcient swag to give away for the first 5 participants that post. And moving to introduction.
Hi, Kim.
I know, there's Kim. Kim, thanks for joining us. And look at someone else from Axcient is also saying, Kevin, thank you for joining us. And I'm glad to have you back. And I do want to move to introductions. So Kevin, I know you're the CEO of DataTrends. Please share a little bit about your MSP. And I'm going to ask a fun fact about yourself.
Okay. So DataTrends, we're based in Atlanta. We are celebrating our 30th year this year. Very excited. We went through from the traditional VAR grow up back in the 90s to really being a managed services provider. We still do a lot of the traditional work. A fun fact for the company, our very first customer from 1990 is still our customer today. So that's kind of cool. We have lots of clients that are in the 15, 20, 25 plus year time frame. So we've enjoyed longevity from that. We are a Microsoft managed Gold Cloud business partner, and we've been with Axcient for 10 years doing the backup solutions, and we're with eFolder. And so when they merged, it was even better because we got everything under one hat for that. A fun fact for me, we were chatting earlier. Something that I've done is I've hiked a glacier in Alaska, which was just very amazing. It's even more amazing when you fly in on a helicopter, so you get to see everything overhead, and they drop you off on the glacier, and you have a guide and go through, and they make sure you don't step in any holes where you go to your peril thousands of feet deep. But it is amazing. So if you ever get the opportunity when you're on a cruise or something and you see glacier tours, it is worth it.
It sounds like an incredible experience and absolutely cool. I'm sure many people can't say that they've hiked a glacier, so thank you for sharing that. And we also have Adam Preeo here, Director of Product at Axcient. And I know he's also a big outdoorsman, and I'm going to lead by asking you to share a fun fact about some of the 14ers that you've hiked. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thanks, Corey. Yeah, born and raised in Colorado, and we've got access to a lot of gorgeous mountains out here. So depending on who you ask, 55 to 58 mountains above 14,000 feet out here. We call them 14ers. I've done all but one of them. None of them are maybe as intense as a glacier, but one more on my radar here the next couple years, hopefully get them finished up.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I see that we have Jeremy Ross. Jeremy, thanks for joining us today. And I also see that we have Evan that's joined and Caitlin. So again, thank you for joining, and please participate in today's chat. I'm going to kick it off by asking Adam, actually, if you could let us know. We talked about, or I've mentioned, Axcient's direct-to-cloud and Axcient's virtual office. For our audience, what does that mean?
Sure, great question. Yeah. So, 2020 has been a wild year, I think, for everybody. It's probably an understatement, but, it's allowed us to kind of hone in on a couple areas that we felt were really important for our backup and recovery solution. So Kevin mentioned, our previous acquisitions, eFolder, Axcient coming together a couple years ago, and really both of those products had some really best-in-class technologies. And what we've been able to do with that this year is really see kind of the culmination here at the end of the year, where this technology, Virtual Office, is really all about doing self-managed cloud recoveries, and not just for single servers, but for an entire office. So if you have a disaster at a local office or anything like that, you can spin up in the right order in a quick period of time. And maybe Kevin can comment if he's had any experience with that. But we allow you to do that all without our support team. It's all self-managed, and it's all included in your product packaging. So no extra costs, no anything like that. And so what we've been able to do is our Axcient BRC product has had this for years, and now we're able to take it to our thousands of Replit partners and net new partners and provide this additional functionality. So Virtual Office has been a major milestone. Along with that, we've also introduced what we call direct to cloud. And so in our world, it's really taking this traditional local BDR backup that you may need an office to have the BDR so that you've got local on-site backups. It's taking that same technology and removing that BDR. So you no longer have the hardware costs with people not in the office as much anymore. Now you can protect all your remote workers with that same technology, and now use Virtual Office if you have to do a recovery in our cloud. So lots of options in terms of protecting remote workers, in-office workers, local BDR, no BDR. And so really our position has been to make our solution very flexible for our MSP partners in terms of how they take backup and recovery to their clients.
Thank you, Adam. And good point. You did kind of ask Kevin, what your experience. Can you talk about your experience, at least with Direct Cloud? Because I know we just made the announcement for Virtual Office yesterday. But if you could speak a little bit about your experience with Direct Cloud and what MSPs might see with that solution.
Sure. So we were actually really excited. Now, Direct Cloud, for folks who don't know about it, it's a pretty new offering from Axcient, really rolling out in October and moving forward. It out of the box, the setup time for us without any training was about 30 minutes to get into the dashboard, add a client, add a server. The download buttons are right there, and we're able to pull in the agent. So it is an agent-based backup that runs. There is not hardware that has to go on. It does support Server 2019, also backs up workstations. The price point on it is really good for small business. So it's helpful for it that it's a good competitor, and with the virtual capabilities in it, being able to have your virtual office up and running, it adds features that you don't get in a lot of the big box customers that are out there. We were able to go in, you can mount a drive, and then click on the drive and it shows you the folder structure. You can drill through it. You can pull files back from that. You can do a bare metal restore from that, or you can bring it right up in the cloud and run remotely if your equipment is damaged. Also, it's blockchain, so it doesn't. It's not huge backups, right? You can have continuous backups running in this, and keep your products relatively current in the cloud for what you're working on, and that's really important to folks that are transactional driven. Yeah, so I mean, I could go on and on, but
that was fantastic. Now let's take a moment and pause, because I did hear some of the use cases. Like you saw, it was a fit for small businesses, right, for direct to cloud. Are there any other use cases that might be valuable for our audience to know if they're considering using direct to cloud? And Adam, also would like to hear from you. So Kevin, you want to go ahead and...
When you say other use cases, help me. You mean other than small business?
Yeah, like so you're right now you see as a fit for small businesses. Is there anything else that you could share with other MSPs in regards to the value of using direct to cloud, whether it's for small businesses, specific verticals, specific environmental setup, whether because they're remote, not remote? I think all those things might contribute to the value. So I'm curious to know if there's anything else that you would be willing to share.
Okay. So I don't want to pigeonhole direct to cloud as a small business only product first. But we have 10 years worth of the BDR product as well, and hundreds of servers that we are using the Axcient flagship product with that does have a server on site. And there are pluses to that as well. The direct to cloud product takes that piece out of it. It also is it brings in something that you can't get in the other products, which is you'll be able to have a USB drive that it makes a replica to, that if you wanted to take that USB drive out, you could do that. It's also friendly with other backup solutions. So let's say you're running a Cronus, you can still run a Cronus and you can have your cloud-based backup happening with direct to cloud. The current thing that you can't do with direct to cloud that makes it, to me, more small business oriented is there's no seeding. So when you put this on, if you've got a server with 6 terabytes, you're pushing 6 terabytes up over whatever your network connection is to get it in there. And that's obviously going to take a while. Even on a gigabit connection, that's going to take a while. So it's been a great starter for us, for customers that, one, don't have the budget for a larger application, and two, their data sets are more in the 2 terabyte range. But it is a unlimited cloud storage product, which is amazing because, folks are constantly asking, well, okay, so what's it going to cost me? And now I'm growing, I'm going to have to pay more. Well, you don't. You can sell this as a fixed price, unlimited growth. You don't have to have hardware locally that has to get upgraded every however many years. You can have you have multiple agents running, so it really is just down to what your bandwidth is for what you can do with this product. It is not a NAS backup product. We've tried that. Media companies, we had some media guys, and they're like, we've got all these videos, they're all stored on NAS units. Yeah, that's not going to work. But there are great scenarios. You can use iSCSI Connect with it. It's a really versatile product, and for kudos to Axcient. It's being upgraded constantly. They listen to everything that is coming back from the channel to say, it would be great if we can do this. It would be great if we can do that. So like throttling. Right now, throttling is very manual. But they're building it into the dashboard so that you can have time of day throttling and say, during the day, you can't use my whole internet bandwidth because people need to be on there too. But at night, go for it. You can have the whole pipe. So for folks who are on smaller connections to the internet, maybe you're doing the Comcast cable, Xfinity cable, or you're doing an AT&T fiber where you've got a lower upload. Maybe you're at 35 meg upload, but you got 100 meg download or better. This product works with that. It works with that 35 meg upload. We've got it running on clients now. Takes a little bit longer for that seed, right? It might take 2 weeks to get your seed in on a customer if you've only got 35 meg upload, but it works. And once it's done because of blockchain, then it stays up to date. It does not take hours and hours and hours to get your backups. It's a really solid product so far. We've done restores back from it. We've had success with that. We are very into testing everything, right? A backup is no good if you never test it. You might as well consider you don't have a backup if you don't test it. So far, so good. We're really happy with how the product's working.
Well, thank you. And I do want to hear from Adam, but what I'm hearing from you is budget flexibility and the appliance sphere are some key things to highlight with the direct to cloud. Adam, is there anything that you would like to add to what Kevin has shared?
Yeah, this is tough. Kevin's making me think of so many different things I want to talk about now. But yeah. I guess just a couple that come to mind. I think, for Axcient, a couple things to know that Kevin mentioned is, we are MSP only, right? We're only in the channel. We don't go direct to any small businesses, any clients. And so, that is who we work with to build these products. And so it's very MSP focused, technician focused. in terms of, what is the best functionality that we can supply to ensure that customers have their backup coverage. So I think that's number one. Number two, that Kevin mentioned some things around, bandwidth throttling and how we're introducing that and seeding. And I think this just, a little more insight into Axcient is how agile we are. So, our backup technology, we're releasing core new functionality, value to partners every month. And then our front end is on a 2-week cadence. And so we're trying to get value out to partners every couple of weeks, every month in terms of this new functionality. And so we never want to hold back value. And we also don't want to wait 6 months for a really large release that might be, hard to upgrade and so on. And so we made all of our release mechanisms really smooth. The agent, when it gets updated, doesn't require a reboot, for example. It never has. And so there's some really nice things we built in. But in terms of roadmap, I had a couple comments there, Corey, but do you want me to wait on those, or is now a good transition over to that?
Well, I would like to wait on that because
Sure.
I think the look forward is the last thing I'd like to touch on. But before we get there, there's two things that I want to make sure that we speak to. And that is regarding, because we spoke a lot about the direct cloud, right? I would like a moment to just revisit the virtual office and any of the key components around that we want to message to the community. So Adam, is there any other key values that you want to highlight regarding virtual office? Because I don't know if Kevin, there's a lot to speak to since we just announced it yesterday.
Yeah, at least on my end, I think if you've used our Replibit solution in the past or others, we've had cloud disaster recovery for a long time. So this is your worst case scenario, right? You've lost your local backup. Something's happened, ransomware, a fire, a hurricane, whatever. And so we've always been able to provide to MSPs within a couple hours disaster recovery. However, this is a big change, especially for Replibit, because they no longer have to put in a support ticket. They don't have to communicate with our team, and it's all right in front of them. So we found that MSPs that have gone through this, worst case disaster, they know how important it is. Like, this is my last line of defense. I always need to have a backup in case I've had a security issue or whatever. And my techs know how to get my clients back up within, less than an hour always. I think for MSPs that haven't gone through that, maybe they've only done file recoveries, and thank goodness that's all they've ever had to do. This is kind of like an insurance policy to know that, hey, your techs can use our e-learning training to get trained on virtual office in a matter of hours. And then it's available to you for no cost. And you can do DR testing anytime. So you can show your clients, hey, I spun up your whole office, and every quarter we're going to go through and check those boxes and say, every server came up in order, every desktop, and here's your report on that test, so that your clients now know the value that you're providing to them without actually going through a disaster. So they don't have to wait until that disaster comes up to know, hey, everything works, and I know that if I lose my local and I have a worst case scenario, with Axcient and the air gap technology they added last year, which subject for a different time, but know that we always have you covered for those worst case scenarios.
Thank you, Adam. And I was just looking at the chat, and something that was mentioned, and I want to actually bring this up right now, is about the availability. I know, Adam, you mentioned it is available to existing partners. And Kevin, can you speak a little bit about your experience in that availability? Was it simple getting access, managing? I know we talked a little bit about that the other day.
Getting access. I'm sorry, I'm not following. For technical support for.
No, in regards to access to the offering. So, for example, direct to cloud, your trial experience, and then in addition to getting access to deploy through your console. So, just if you could speak a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah. So, access to the product. So,
yes,
right. So, you have to be set up first, obviously, as a partner, and you get a login to the portal. And then once you're in the portal, the portal is another one of those evolving, emerging items with Axcient, right? So they're bringing lots of products into the portal that you can pick you have one login and pick your product. So you go in, you create a client in the direct to cloud product, you add a piece of equipment, whether it's a workstation or a server, you download the link to the agent, it's in, you start your seed, you set your schedules, It is, and as well as if you're a new partner in Direct to Cloud, Axcient will have somebody do a session with you to help walk you through those steps. And they're not difficult, but right now there are some manual pieces, things that you have to, like I said, with throttling, that you do that aren't part of the dashboard yet. But as far as ease of access, I mean, we set up 3 servers in probably less than an hour day one when we started with it. We've been very successful rolling out. We've added multiple clients on, as it's a good fit right now for plus something that we didn't discuss was it has air gap, right? And so air gap is pretty unique to offerings that are out there to Axcient. I was on a call this morning with a law firm that their key concern was what happens with ransomware. You get something like Ragnar, it goes out and deletes your cloud backups. I mean, these guys are smart. They know what they're doing. And so you need something like air gap, which actually puts a barrier in between your cloud backup and the button that says delete. And those guys think they're successful in delete, but they really weren't successful in deleting because you have a gap that lasts for 30 days. And so your data is still safe and untouched. And Axcient even has case studies that are out there, live case, where folks have been able to recover after the hackers thought they had deleted all their data. And so yeah.
No, I appreciate you highlighting a very key component of that technology with X360 Recover. So thank you for touching on that. And I did see in the chat box there are promotions or special offers related to this, so please reach out. I think I do want to close it up with a look forward. And, you know, Adam, you describe it as Axcient being agile. And then Kevin, you describe it as, you know, that we're constantly upgrading and we're listening to our partners about what is needed in the technology. So can you give us a look forward, Adam, of X360 Recover?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll touch on a couple key points. You know, we've got lots in the pipeline, but I think related to Virtual Office and Direct to Cloud, a couple things to talk about. So Kevin mentioned, you know, kind of how he uses Direct to Cloud and where it's good within small business. You know, one of the things we wanted to do when we released this was really release it without much limitation, right? So the ability to support desktops, the ability to support servers, no limitation on number of drives or volumes. And so all of that's supported. But to Kevin's point, you know, we don't have a physical seeding method yet. We do for our local products, but not for Direct to Cloud. And so a couple things that we've done there, you know, one is that for all endpoints, you know, no matter if you're an existing partner, a new partner, putting on a new client, you get 2 weeks free when that endpoint starts. Part of the reason for that is that we've built the technology so that it can run in parallel with other backup solutions. So if you want to make sure that you've got a full good backup with Axcient before moving from one of our other technologies or something else you've used in the past, it's fully set up so that you don't have to make a hard switch. So you've got, like Kevin mentioned, if you're uploading 6 terabytes of data and that takes you 2 weeks, by default, we have you covered. Now that said, a coming key technology that we're going to add in is what we've been calling local cache. And so this is the idea that, hey, Direct Cloud is great. I love cloud backup, but I still want to have some kind of, you know, dumb storage, a $70 USB drive that's got my latest backups on it for file recovery, or even virtualization down the road. And so our local cache is going to allow you to keep on any storage, you know, inexpensive NAS, inexpensive USB, not pay that couple $1,000s for a full BDR, but still have your data stored locally as well as in the cloud. And that's really important both for speed of recovery, having redundant backups, and also it enables us to start that seeding process. So we can then ship you a seed drive, you can plug it in like a local cache, and then we can consume that, you know, 6, 10, 20 terabytes of data for a preload. And so that'll be coming early in 2021, first half of the year. So we're working on that right now. And then with Virtual Office, I think another key point to call out is this idea of run books. And so Kevin may have used this with BRC in the past, but run books is all about pre-planning your disaster recovery. So in the event that you've got multiple servers in an office, you may need them to spin up in a certain order with specific network configuration, VPN settings. And so today you can go in and do that kind of one by one, set up this server, here's the IP, set up this server, here's the IP. What Runbooks allows you to do is set all that up for 1, 2, 10, 100 servers. And so when you need to go do your DR test with your customer, literally your technician's clicking a button and watching all of these spin up at once, and it's all pre-planned. And so, again, that's technology that's existed. So we know it's very robust. It's worked for years, but now we're bringing it into the fold with Replibit and with Direct Cloud. And so those, for me, the local cache and the runbooks with Virtual Office, those are kind of, pinnacle technologies and things that we're introducing. Really, no one else has the local cache tech out today like we're building that's fully encrypted, fully compliant for HIPAA and other verticals. And so we're really excited about those two. Definitely not the only things we're doing next year. And so maybe we'll have a future Facebook Live on other things going on. But those are two of the big keys for next year for us, Corey.
Well, thank you, Adam. Kevin, anything else that you want to add?
Evan Hubbard Glacier.
Hubbard.
Let's see. No, I think that's we covered a lot of stuff here.
Certainly did. No, this is fantastic. And thank you, Kevin and Adam, for some insight into Axcient's X360 Direct Cloud as well as Virtual Office. I hope this was insightful for our audience. I am going to pause for a minute and ask the audience, if you're out there, which I know you are, if you have any questions, please post them. So let's just take a minute. Thank you again, both of you. And if there are any questions, which I'm not seeing.
Thank you, Corey. I know you're always hosting these, so thank you for being the host for Axcient all the time. It's great.
Absolutely. I enjoy it. I've learned quite a bit about our co-hosts by asking that fun question. But again, I don't see any questions that have come in, and I do want to thank the audience as well as our co-hosts for today's conversation. And we look forward to seeing you on next Facebook Live. And it is December, so happy holidays to everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Be safe. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.